To people who sign up to save lives, and they do it every day. They are the first point of contact when people in and around Nueces County call 911, talking about the Metrocom switchboard at Corpus Christi Police Headquarters. It covers an area in which some 340,000 people live. Our Taylor out on the East tonight gives us a rare behind-the-scenes look at the team on the other end of the line. Taylor?
Yeah, Joe. Well, as the population increases for the city, so does the need for dispatchers. It's a job like no other.
Corpus Christi 911, location of emergency.
We just have to remember that people are counting on us.
Answering the calls of people desperate for help.
We get all different kinds of situations. We never know, what kind of day it's going to be.
There are currently 60 people on staff at Metrocom, the dispatch service for Nueces County.
We have four mostly 12-hour shifts.
Tony Martinez has been a dispatcher here for 13 years.
Sometimes it's a little scary. It can be a little overwhelming, but with experience, it definitely gets a lot easier.
On average, dispatchers answer 50,000 calls a month.
Our annual calls have increased even since I've started working here, so I've been here 7.5 years.
Well, with more calls, dispatchers are in high demand.
We're always looking for new folks to join our team because the job is very multitask intensive and it can be stressful at times.
Dispatch Supervisor Carrie Guajardo says the emergencies could be anything from police, fire to EMS.
I've had situations where I've even had to talk to a child before that's needing help for their mother, and being able to be down to their level to be able they can understand what we're asking and what kind of help they're needing.
Applicants must be at least 18 years old, have a GED or high school diploma, complete a background check, and more.
A psychological and a drug test, physical, things like that.
And of course, be passionate about helping their community.
People that work here really do love their job and they really do care about what they do, and they do this job because they want to help people.
And calling 911 is just step one for people in an emergency. On Wednesday night, please join my colleague Bill Churchwell and I for our 3 News Extra, where we take you into the world of first responders who are signing up to save lives.
Okay, Taylor, thank you.